Tonight, you'll flip a switch. Light floods the room, and you won't think twice about it. It's so normal, you don't even notice. But for almost all of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun went down, real darkness came. The kind where you couldn't even see your own hand in front of your face. 300,000 years. Every single one of your ancestors spent half their life in that darkness. No candles, no flashlight, just firelight, stars, and a black sky. So, what did people actually do during all those long nights? The answer is going to change everything you think you know about sleep, storytelling, and what it means to be human. Let's start with fire, because fire is the reason any of this was possible. The earliest solid evidence of humans controlling fire comes from Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, roughly 1 million years ago. Before fire, our ancestors lived like every other primate. When the sun went down, you climbed a tree or hid in shelter and stayed still. Moving at night meant becoming someone's dinner. Human eyes are terrible in the dark. But leopards, hyenas, wolves, they could see just fine. We were easy prey. Fire changed that equation overnight, literally. A campfire creates a circle of safety, roughly 30 feet wide. Inside that circle, predators won't come. Outside it, you're in danger. And anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups have confirmed this. People who wander away from the fire at night are significantly more likely to be killed by predators, even today. But here's what's fascinating. Fire didn't just protect people, it gave them something they'd never had before: extra hours of life. Before fire, the useful day ended at sunset. That's about 12 hours in summer, as few as 8 in winter. Fire added 2 to 4 usable hours to every single day. And over thousands of generations, those extra hours changed our species forever. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wisner published a study in one of the world's most respected scientific journals. She spent years recording conversations among the Juhoansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last groups on Earth still living something close to the original human lifestyle. And here's what she found. During the day, about 80% of conversations were practical. Who's hunting where, which plants are ready, logistics, negotiations, work talk. But at night, around the fire, everything changed. At night, 81% of conversations were stories. Tales of people in distant places, adventures, myths about how the world began, jokes that made the whole camp laugh. Wisner's conclusion? The campfire is where human culture was born. The campfire was the original theater, the original classroom, the original church. It's where humans learned to think beyond the present moment and imagine things that didn't exist yet. It's where we became us. But that's not all. Something else was happening. Something scientists only rediscovered in the last 30 years. You were not designed to sleep the way you sleep right now. In 2001, historian Roger Eckerich published a paper that changed sleep science. He spent 16 years digging through historical records, and he found something nobody expected. Over 500 references, prayer books from the 1400s, court records, diaries, medical texts, letters from ordinary people, even passages in Homer's Odyssey. All of them mention the same thing: first sleep and second sleep. Before the industrial age, people did not sleep in one continuous block. They went to bed shortly after sunset, slept about 4 hours, then woke up. They stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night. Then they slept again for another 4 hours until dawn. This wasn't insomnia. This was normal. This is how every human on the planet slept for thousands of years. So what did people do during that wakeful period in the middle of the night? Everything. A 16th century French physician recommended couples conceive children during this window. They'd, quote, do it better. People visited neighbors. They reflected on dreams while they were still fresh. They simply lay in the dark and thought. A medical manual from the 1500s advised that the best time for reflection was the watch, the quiet hours between first and second sleep, when the mind was calm and the world was still. Historians had been reading these references for centuries, but they kept translating first sleep as something else, because they couldn't imagine people ever slept differently than we do now. The assumption was so deep that translators literally mistranslated ancient Greek and medieval Latin to fit their own modern experience. Then science confirmed what history had been saying all along. In 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Ware at the National Institute of Mental Health ran an experiment. He took a group of volunteers and removed all artificial light from their lives. For 1 month, they experienced 14 hours of darkness every night, just like our ancestors, before fire extended the evening. Within weeks, every single participant settled into the same pattern: 4 hours of sleep, 1 to 3 hours of quiet wakefulness, then 4 more hours of sleep. Nobody told them to do this. Nobody suggested it. It just happened, as if some ancient program had been waiting inside them the whole time, buried under centuries of artificial light. Ware measured their hormone levels during the wakeful period and found something remarkable. Their brains were producing elevated levels of prolactin, the same hormone released during meditation and after orgasm. They described feeling peaceful, reflective, almost meditative. It wasn't just a gap in sleep. It was its own distinct state of consciousness, one that most modern humans have never experienced. So what killed this? The answer is simpler than you'd think. Light. In the 1600s, cities began installing street lamps. Paris was one of the first, under Louis XIV, who wanted to reduce crime. London followed. The night, once dangerous and feared, slowly became navigable. Then came cheaper candles, then gas lamps in the 1800s. Then, in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric light bulb, and within a generation, the night humans had known for 300,000 years was gone. Here's the part nobody talks about. The word curfew comes from the French couvre-feu. It literally means cover the fire. In medieval towns, a bell rang at night, signaling everyone to cover or extinguish their fires. Not for safety, because night was supposed to be dark. Night was when you slept. Night was when you were vulnerable. In many medieval European cities, walking outside after dark without a lantern was literally illegal. Night belonged to criminals and the supernatural. People feared it in a way that's almost impossible for us to understand today. And then we conquered it. We flooded it with light, and we called that progress. But here's what we lost. Modern humans are exposed to artificial light an average of 7 to 8 hours after sunset, especially blue light from screens. This suppresses melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. Your body doesn't know the difference between a light bulb and the sun. When light hits your retina at 11 p.m., your brain thinks it's daytime. But here's the interesting part. Researchers found that just 1 week of camping with 0 artificial light resets your melatonin cycle by nearly 2 hours. Your body starts producing melatonin at sunset again, just like it used to. 300,000 years of programming restored in a week. We didn't just change when we sleep. We eliminated an entire phase of human consciousness, that quiet, reflective state between first and second sleep. Now, we call it insomnia, and we treat it like a disorder. But what if it's not a disorder at all? What if waking up at 2 a.m. and lying there in the dark isn't your body malfunctioning? What if it's your body remembering what it was built to do? For 300,000 years, your ancestors lived in a rhythm that science is only now starting to understand. They gathered around fires and told stories that built civilizations. They slept in 2 phases, with a window of quiet reflection in between. They lived in darkness so complete that the Milky Way wasn't something you had to drive to a national park to see. It was just the sky. And every night, waking in the dark between first and second sleep, they lay there in silence, thinking about their lives, their dreams, and the world they would wake up to in the morning. We traded all of that for a light switch, and most of us never even knew it was gone.